Hi everyone. I've been playing Runescape, this silly, stupid little game, for most of my life at this point. I started when I was a kid, back when old school was just normal Runescape. And, they say that you never really quit Runescape, you just take breaks. I don't know if that applies to anyone else anymore, but it does to me. I've taken my fair share of breaks over the years. I've made new accounts multiple times. I've seen the game change in too many ways to count. But through all of the really turbulent and, frankly, awful times in my life, one of the only constants has always been that I have either played or cared about RuneScape in one way or another. Especially lately, though, I can't explain why necessarily, but I've been enjoying the game more than I have since I was a 10-year-old kid. I think one of the reasons is that I finally feel like my account is at a point where I can do anything I want to do with little to no restrictions. And today I finished off what I would probably call the first big milestone achievement post getting a max cape. I got a max cape so many years ago at this point. And here's a short video of me finishing my last requirement at Livid Farm and then claiming the Completionist cape. Livid Farm itself is pretty awful. I think anybody who has engaged with this content knows that. And this gameplay probably expresses that, so I don't need to explain it in much detail. And I also will apologize for the lack of in-game sound and the recording cutting off the top and bottom of the screen. Those are just oversights. I'll fix that in the future, hopefully, if I remember. But basically, the farm itself, it updates in intervals of like 2-ish minutes. You fix a few walls, you cure a few plants, and then you either bundle some other plants or you encourage this lady with her mental health or whatever. In the grand scheme of things, I think this is one of the worst examples of what a completionist cape requirement is in modern RuneScape. You can bypass the entire mini-game if you religiously pay attention to the traveling merchant, and it isn't even that expensive to do that. I did that personally for the majority of the points, but manually earning Livid Farm points are very tedious. It's click intensive, and worst of all, the rewards for doing it are completely outdated and niche, so the only reason to engage with this content at all is for the completion escape requirement. Now, to give them credit in development, lately they've done a really good job of going back and assessing older completion escape requirements, and they've changed a lot of them to be better, and they've also just straight up removed bad ones. The nature of the completion escape and similar milestones is that as the game goes on forever, they keep adding more and more, so if you're just starting out today, there's just so many requirements. And so that would be my number one argument as to why it's a good thing that they have been willing to remove older ones. Because it doesn't make the cape easier necessarily, it just makes it less frustrating and tedious. And they've also done a good job that whenever new content comes out now, the requirements are pretty fair, they're pretty acceptable, and all they really ask is that you engage with the content in a meaningful way, which I think is good. Living Farm is a much older piece of content, and it is not a good example of what I'm talking about. It is just outdated and unnecessary. I've been working on this cape specifically for maybe a month now. Once I got what is probably the longest thing done, which is getting 120 and all of the skills that have been updated, so Slayer, Farming, Herblore, Dungeoneering. I finished off Slayer as my last 120, and then I decided, like, okay, now that that's done, I should probably get to work on all the quests and all the area tasks and stuff. and it really wasn't that bad. I will say, I think my least favorite requirement of the whole thing was Dominion Tower. I can't stand Dominion Tower for whatever reason. But otherwise, it really wasn't bad, and I did not hate the process of getting this cape at all. I started this account in, I want to say 2014. But I've been playing the game a lot longer, as I said earlier. I've been playing since I was a kid. So, in a way, while I really started going for this hard about a month ago, thousands and thousands of hours have gone into this. So it does feel like a pretty cool milestone. For me, RuneScape has never been about the destination. RuneScape is like the perfect embodiment of the idea that, like, taking small steps every day, it will get you to your end goal faster and efficiently. Even for the longest term goals you can think of, if you compartmentalize and you work on that every day, you will get there. For me, yeah, claiming this cape today is very cool. I'm gonna love wearing this thing in the future. I think it looks awesome. I think my fashion scape is on point. But to me, like, I personally felt a lot more satisfaction when I knocked out a lot of the smaller individual requirements that were a pain in the ass, because I knew they were stepping stones getting me closer to this goal. It feels great to go down a checklist and start crossing things off. And to me, that is way more exciting than finally being done. And I'll say this. If you play RuneScape, you know that you're never done. As somebody who is a completionist, it's really mind-boggling why I'm okay with that, because there is no such thing as finishing RuneScape. There is nobody on planet Earth that has done everything. Some people have 5.6 billion experience, meaning they're done with every skill. They have trimmed completionist cape. They have blah blah blah. Nobody has everything done, because it's just not feasible. Without a doubt, in the future, I guess now is the future, I'm going to be working on Master Quest Cape next. It seems like it'll take a long time, but it also might be pretty easy. It seems like a lot of simple requirements, but there's just so many of them. At the same time, I've been working on 120 in all skills for years and years and years, and I think I'm making pretty good progress on that. I mostly have decent skills left, with the exception being like rune crafting and wood cutting, but I'm not starting from scratch on those. I have some pretty good progress, so it won't be too bad. And then I guess if we look even further in the future, like assuming Earth doesn't get hit by an asteroid or anything, I will probably work on Trim Completionist Cape, although I'm not excited about it. I figure my best plan of attack is to work on a lot of the requirements passively just through regular gameplay, and then eventually I'll buckle and decide, alright, it's time to get to work, and I'll finish it off. Until then, I kind of think trimmed comp is like my limit. I can't imagine I'll ever go for anything harder than that. Especially not like Final Boss, Golden Reaper, those kinds of things. And that's because I just really hate combat. Finally, what I'll say about this all is that making RuneScape content is something that I'm still very unsure about. I wanted to post this because it's a really cool milestone, and even if nobody else cares, like, it's cool for me, and I want to have like a record of that. But as I just kind of said, I don't enjoy combat at all. Part of that is because I'm just terrible at it. I can't even manage to buy gear good enough to save me from like mid-tier combat bossing encounters. And I also can't stand doing clue scrolls. So that kind of encompasses all of the content that makes RuneScape 3 palatable for people. And if that content is off the table for me personally, I don't think I have much to make videos on. But with that being said, that can always change. And also, I think here and there I will probably just make a video like this one. Just going over a tiny little milestone that I personally am proud of, and updating on the state of my account maybe. That might be something I do. But I don't intend to necessarily make RuneScape a huge part of my channel, even though it's such a huge part of my life and the only game that I've played forever, consistently. But yeah, no, I just wanted to make this because it's really cool, and I'm proud of it. Even if so many players have done it at this point, I'm proud of what I've done on this account. And I finally, for the first time, feel like I don't want to make a new account. Like I'm this kind of person that loves restarting and doing things from scratch. I think I'm good. I think I just want to keep working on this account for a while. I'm having a lot of fun. So, anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in whatever next video I make.